All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I'm going to ask Magistrate Scott Poston if he'd lead us in a prayer. We'll follow that with a pledge to the flag.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this day and the many blessings that you've given us in life. And Father, we're just thankful for the opportunity that we have to be here this morning. Father, we, as always, we just pray for the first responders, the law enforcement, Father, and for the servicemen and women. Father, we just pray that all that's said and done here today is pleasing to you. And all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, y'all see we got a few items, so we'll jump right into it here. You had an opportunity to review the minutes of our August 2nd regular court meeting. We need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by Nate, and a second by Marty. Any question or discussion? Additions, corrections? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we're a month and a half into a new fiscal year and have the first budget amendment, and I'll go over the highlights of that. But if you looked over that, we need a motion and a second to approve fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance number 220.243. It's amendment number 1. There is, if y'all recall, when we hired the building inspector, we budgeted, and then we had to negotiate that, I'll say. So part of that is to get the money in line for that. Part of it is anticipation of fixing the rest of the jail roof, which was we budgeted that, or we discussed that.
We budgeted the next phase, but Bill's going to have that discussion here in just a minute.
Yeah, so at any rate, then we've had insurance claims from the CBD fire for almost $27,000, and then the $54,000 that we just approved to help kick the SRO program off. That's a change in the budget. Then we had money coming in for highway safety grant and the transportation for the Henderson Park, which is a little over $300,000. But then we've got the cost, and some of this is pass-through cost, but it's got to be in the budget for the SRO program, $350-some thousand, but we've got to show it in the budget. Even though the school's reimbursing, it's got to flow through our budget. So that's got to show there. And one of those items, part of that is the $353,000 anticipated there for that program during the school year, and then a $108,000 check that the school has sent too. So that's kind of the highlights of what the budget amendment is about.
So we sent them a check for $54,000. They sent us one back for $108,000.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Do that all day.
Motion made.
All right, so we got a motion by Nate,
Second.
got a second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? Pam, on the ordinance, we'll do a roll call.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, next, if you've seen the resolution for the agreement with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinets for the flex roads, the $178,269, we need a motion and a second to authorize entering into that resolution and authorizing the county judge to sign that resolution.
So moved.
Well, we had two quick ones on that. We get 200 and some thousand, or get $178,000. They'll motion quick. Had Marty and Scott. Marty, Mason, Scott second. All in favor, or any question or discussion?
Do you need to list the roads that are gonna be done?
Did we talked about the flex roads in a previous meeting. I think we
Okay.
listed them in a previous meeting.
Okay.
All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? I sure hoping nobody voted against getting that money. That was a joke.
Shows you how serious they are about roads.
Yeah. All right. Next is you had an opportunity to review an agreement between the Transportation Cabinet and the Simpson County for supplemental number 5. This is the Henderson Park, and this is part of the money that is worked into that budget amendment. Is we have the ability to get another $300,000, but it has to be used in the industrial park, but the money comes through the court. But it's $300,000, and we would need a motion and a second to authorize or to enter into that agreement and authorize the county judge to sign the documents necessary to facilitate that.
So moved.
Got a
Second.
motion by Myron and a second by Marty.
Yes.
Any question or discussion?
If I was reading this right, that's to do improvements to Eddings Road.
Well, no, supplemental number 4, I think, was to Eddings Road. This is, let me pull it back up.
It says a field of green. I thought I read somewhere in there about Eddings Road.
Yeah, because in this
Well, right
thing,
here under, say, agreement number 4, modify the agreement. Complete improvements to Eddings Road in the Henderson Industrial Park.
yeah, that was under number 4.
That was $300,000 for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
list
done-
all of them.
Yeah, this is a different one. This is to fix access roads off of Eddings.
Okay.
Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then the bids for the public works vehicle, we didn't receive any bids. So, there we are. Back over here. All right, so see the bids we got for the sheriff's vehicles. We'd need a motion and a second to approve those, and I guess authorize the county judge to sign any paperwork necessary to make this transaction.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Scott. Scott and Nate were almost a tie, but I heard Scott first. Any question or discussion? And that amount is $75,488, and that's 2 vehicles, correct, Sheriff? Yes. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
On that public works vehicle, can you buy one off a state contract?
What happened to that was our local dealers said they couldn't give a price that far until after September. And the state contract, they were hesitant to give a price until later on because they weren't sure what you could even get. So really, if we do it sometime in September, we'll
Okay,
be able to get it. It was just the time of it, really.
okay.
All right, this is something that happens annually as we get ready for property tax collections, where we talk about making an increase on the sheriff's revenue bond during the tax collection season. Typically, we increase that bond to $500,000. You can see in the inquiry there are times that there are times that there's more than $500,000 being handled, correct, Sheriff? And so you see the rates. If we do the increase to the $500,000, it's $485. If we wanted the increase to cover up to $750,000, it's $711, or even up to $1 million would be $938. And on a given day, what do you, like, if we're looking back at last tax season, on a given day, what do you think the large?
It fluctuates, because we can have as much as $1 million. I pay $1 million deposit in a single day. Generally, October's our busy time, and then November, and then it falls off after that. Anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million is what we've been having on any of those.
Yeah. And 500,000 is what we've typically done. I guess the question is, does everyone feel good about continuing with the 500,000, or do you feel like we need to bump it?
Personally, I feel like we need to go to the 750, because he just sat here and said we'd 500,000 to 1 million, so,
That's probably a good idea, Marty.
I mean, our tax, we keep collecting more every year, so,
Given the tax collection rates and the increase in valuations, I think that's a wise move.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm good with that. I just wanted to get the feel from this body. Is everybody good with the 750?
I'll put it in motion.
Yeah.
All right, so Marty's got a motion that we increase the sheriff's revenue bond to 750,000 for this tax year, and that costs to be $711, and Magistrate Poston has seconded. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, next, you'll see, in our last meeting, we had the email from Kelwell about the, I'm on the wrong thing here now.
It's at the top.
The increase in the food, and so they sent back the agreement and the pricing on the agreement to take effect on October 1st of 2022, because, and I don't know, I think the chain of emails was on there for you guys to see too, where I'd emailed, and, according to well, I don't know, maybe the chain of emails didn't make it on here, but I had emailed the Broadwell guy at Kelwell, and said, according to our contract, it's got to be a 60-day notice before we have any increase. And he said, yeah, you're correct, and we apologize for that. And then I asked him what the food away from home price index was, and he says it's tied to the CPI, and that's all the explanation that I really got. I mean, there's no doubt that their costs have gone up. Everything's gone up. But they're asking that we sign this amendment to the contract to be effective October 1 of 2022.
Now, what will that price be in October?
$1.50, it's 180 to 189, it's $1.50.
Yeah.
If you do 300 plus, it's $1.20, basically $1.21.
Yeah, on 300 plus, it's $1.21, and I think now it's like $1 and a nickel. It's about a 14-cent increase, I think, on 300 plus.
I thought it was like $1.13, but I'm not.
Maybe that's where I'm getting the 14. Maybe it was $1.13.9, so 14. So maybe it's only like 6-cent increase.
Okay. I can find it.
You need a motion on this?
Yeah, we'll have to have a motion and a second that would authorize the county judge to sign this amendment to the contract.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any other question or discussion?
I just wish they could have included that price index.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it went up, but I just wish they could have included whatever that CPI for the food away from home was.
yeah, I'd never heard of the food away from home price index. That's the first time I'd ever heard that phrase. All right, any other question, discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
It is $1.13.
$1.13. All right, next, if you had an opportunity to review the executive order of affiliation number 2022-08-16, this is something that is usually done every year that talks about the order of operation in emergencies and so forth, and typically it's done the first of the year, but I think we were in the midst of tornado cleanup right at the first of the year, and it's all been put together. It's the same, we've done this. This will be the fourth time this group's done it.
Motion made.
Got a and hold on just a second, let me pull this up. This just talks about, just so the public knows, it just talks about how things will be established in the event of an emergency and how things will come through the emergency management office and what that order is to walk through the steps of handling an emergency, a local emergency, if it were to arise. So you made the motion, Nate?
Yes.
All right, we need a second.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion?
Do you want authorizing your signature? It requires
Yes.
the EM
and
director
authorize
and
the-
fire chief as well, but for your
Yes,
purpose.
and authorize, yes, it will require the signature of the county judge, the EM director, and fire and rescue. So would y'all include that in the motion to authorize those individuals to sign this document?
Yes.
You good with that, Scott?
Yep.
Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, next is the designation of applicant's agent, resolution number 2022-08-16. And this one we've also done before, that talks about Bob being, this has to do with emergency management too, and Bob being emergency management director. And this one actually would have to authorize the signatures of the entire fiscal court. The judge and all magistrates have to sign this certificate here.
Basically, this is so the emergency management can file for grants. And
Yes, this one has to do with being able to reach out to FEMA for any grant money available in the event of an emergency.
so much.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And next, if you had an opportunity to review the, I don't know whether they call that a vapor or Evapar or Evapar? Okay. It's a generator maintenance agreement, and it looks to be that it's a 1 year, they'll come and service it, do a full service, and check it all out. It's $415 per year. But we need a motion and a second to enter into this maintenance agreement and authorize the county judge to sign it. And this is for the big generator at the,
One out here at the courthouse.
right out the door here.
Yeah.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
I'm sorry, would you repeat who? the
Scott
most-
and Nate.
Scott made the motion and Nate seconded. All right, if you've had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve those claims as presented.
So moved.
Is that Myron?
Myron.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
got a second by Nate. Any question or discussion on the claims?
They're all on here sideways.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
You were
here
supposed to lay down and
look
read
at
it.
That's right. If anybody watching, they see us doing our heads like this, it's fine.
Well, and do you know how, is it rotate? Are you able to rotate it on your iPad?
I don't think so.
Nicole,
Yeah,
you're-
yeah, he can rotate,
Sorry.
he can rotate it.
Nicole,
I was out.
you're talking to a group of men.
We're
and
doing good to
all
turn it
over
on.
50. We
I
don't,
forgot to put that on my instructions.
we know where the on-off button is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you get yours rotated, Scott?
It had to do it itself.
Adam took care of mine.
All right. We got into this discussion about this. Do we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other discussion other than it being on the portal sideways? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion
Can you
carries.
give a demonstration after court?
Yeah. It won't help us, Adam. Yeah. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the July 31, 2022 financial statement, we need a motion and a second to approve that statement, subject to audit, and authorize the county treasurer and the county judge to sign it.
So move.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion on that? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carried. Into reports. One thing, I had a call, we moved one of the older public works vehicles over to the shelter, and I guess the shelter had a truck that I think's maybe not even running. I'm not sure what the condition of it is, but it's pretty poor. But one of the employees at the shelter is interested in buying it, and of course, obviously, we can't just privately sell a vehicle. We either have to have a public auction, or we have to have, a list of items, an item or list of items that we advertise for sealed bids to take. We can't just say, oh yeah, we'll sell you a vehicle for such and such a dollar. So the question is, and this will go back to sheriff, the jail, fire chief, Bobby, do we have any equipment or enough equipment that we would want to advertise that we would accept sealed bids on some items? Are there any departments that have bush hogs, mower, other vehicles? And the reason I'm asking that is, we have to advertise it, and it gets costly to advertise, and I really hate to pay for an advertisement just to have one vehicle on taking sealed bids.
That's what I told them out there I had to go out there the other day to get 2 dogs, and they were asking me about it, and I said, we either have to auction it or bid it, or
Yeah.
give it to another government agency.
Yeah,
It's the only thing.
he wanted to buy it. He was ready to buy it. I'm like, why can't you sell it to you like that?
You can, but you would get in trouble.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a good plan.
Yeah, no, I want to avoid trouble.
Amen.
So just keep in mind,
Thank you, Bill.
I have a 99 dog pickup down there that I'm not gonna keep, I'm tired of.
okay,
It wants to run good and it's ready to go.
okay.
I'm not spending any more money on it.
Well, if we could get maybe at least a half a dozen items that we could advertise for sealed bid, so y'all just, if there's things that you've got, just let us know and we'll put a list together and do it. But I can't hardly justify advertising in the paper for one vehicle, because the advertisement will probably cost as much as we get out of the one vehicle. Because it's okay. I have people all the time, when is the car show? When is the car show? It's about a month away. Today's August 16th, the car show's September 17th. And then the last thing I want to say is I want everyone to wish Pam well and to say a prayer for her. Monday, she's having to have a knee replacement. She's going in to get updated parts. So we do, all seriousness, we do wish you the very best, and we hope everything goes well. And we hope you're able to run and get away from Bill very quickly after you recover. It's not a problem. You can't run? No, we do wish you the best, but I would ask y'all all to just be in prayer for her.
Thank you.
All right. Myron, you have anything?
Oh, I've got one item here that I've been getting quite a few calls concerning Spectrum leaving empty
Real
conduit
numbers?
reels on the side of the road, wire, and I've reached out to Brandon Eden about these situations, and he responds for for the buck of the time in a positive way, but I think maybe we might need a letter from our county judge executive. There's just too much wire, pieces of pipe, holes around these vaults and pull points around the county. You know, we didn't bargain on none of that. And there's places where they have run pipe over existing gas lines and they're just coming up out of the ground, kind of going back in the ground, and they're going to be hit by our farmers bush hogging, or Bobby and his men out here bush hogging, and quite an eyesore in the county.
Well, I seen a guy picking the reels up the other day. I don't know if he had permission or not, but he was picking them up.
You don't know whether they were actually the people getting them or somebody
Well,
decided,
they
hey, I
did
need a
find out,
reel.
the
It
steel
wasn't a
wheels are
Spectrum
not,
person, I know for sure it wasn't a Spectrum person, but.
the steel wheels, they're not recyclable, so there's really no incentive for those guys to pick them up.
If them scrappers will pick them up, there's a lot of weight on
But-
one of those reels.
Yeah.
But some of this stuff
sure
is grown up so bad around them, Bobby's gonna find them. In the state highway department, they'll find them with their
Well, I
mowers.
mean,
you
I'll
know.
be glad, I've got Brandon's cell phone number. So, I mean, I'll be glad to call him, but I mean, I'm glad to send a letter too. I'm also in a lot of contact with the guy that is like the foreman over this construction crew in this area. Typically, he's been very good and responsive to take care of issues which I get the most complaints about, like they left my yard rutted up and I can't mow. They messed my driveway up and I can't get in and out of it like I used to. But typically, he's been very responsive in getting over there and getting it straightened out.
They got 5 different crews
Yeah.
from start to finish, and
But the biggest problem, and maybe I do need to address this with Brandon, because I talked with it about the construction crew, and then Marty brought it up as we were walking up the steps this morning. I had a conversation with the foreman last week about being sure that if you have equipment or anything in the road, especially, you know, you're out in the county, hills, curves, and everything, you need to at least have cones or flags. If you don't have a person out there with a flag, at least have, you know, signs and cones, you know, in the road identifying that there is work happening in the road. So I don't know.
If you have any experience, they're pulling like 16-foot enclosed trailers behind their trucks. When they come back to actually put the fiber in, there were 8 that I know of out at Gold City yesterday. And on one little road, there were 3 in a row, and they had no flags, nothing out. And it doesn't matter if you're if they're in a curve or on a hill or anything else. So that's, you know, I had actually got tagged in a Facebook post last night. The lady was saying that she almost got hit with an excavator coming around in behind a trailer. And if she wasn't going slow, she would have got hit. So I don't know, maybe the sheriff needs to go out and talk to them if they're setting up, or have them go by and say, look, you need to have some flags or warnings or something out here if you're going to be blocking the road.
They got to have flags or cones or something warning people that, hey, there's work happening in the road ahead.
There's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'll talk to Brandon about that, but I'll be glad if the court
well,
wants me to send
Brandon's,
a letter.
he's been more than cooperative with me, but of course, there's so many private contractors involved. And like he told me a day, he said, we're done out your way. I said, you can't be done out our way.
Well, did I tell you all this? Like the construction foreman, the foreman over the construction crews, he actually lives here local. I mean, Warren
really?
County. Well, Warren County. I mean, fairly local. But the guy who is over the whole project for the state of Kentucky with charter, because you know the Federal Communication Commission is who bid this thing out nationwide by census sectors across the country. The guy who is over the project for Kentucky lives in the state of Washington. And that's where his office is.
But I will
So
say,
the
everybody
chances
out
he's
our
seen
way,
anything in Kentucky is almost none.
people I've talked to, they like their service. They do like,
Oh, yeah, I've talked to
So
people that
there's no
hooked up and
doubt.
they're happy with it.
yeah.
I hope to find out how happy I am with it. Although I will say this, it's been peaceful. I haven't watched TV in 5 days. It's been pretty peaceful. But, yeah, I'll talk to Brandon.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Scott, anything?
No, sir.
Nate?
Yeah, probably about the only thing I have is, the, Parks Board, you know, the master plan meeting will be held out there next Tuesday. I think starting at 6 p.m. So anyone who wants to come out there to listen up, to see what's going on, you know, that will be the meeting to go to. Because when they're gonna talk about, you know, some of the happenings that could be happening out there at the park, you know, for the
Good.
future.
Next Tuesday, a week from today,
A week from today, on the
At what
23rd.
time then?
6 o'clock.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
Are we gonna talk, are we supposed to talk about the safe room grant letter, or Bob gonna talk about that? It's on the portal.
The what?
Safe room grant letter.
I think Bob will bring that up in his
Okay.
report.
I don't have anything.
Nothing else? All right, I know we do have a few department heads with reports, so let's start. Well, we'll get the sheriff. Sheriff, we'll go to, supposed to get the counselor here first.
Appreciate that. No report.
Sheriff?
School starting, so keep your eyes up for buses, that's all I'll say is, there'll be more than traffic, happening traffic is.
Yeah,
School gets in.
yeah. Wednesday, right? It's first day of school?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow is Wednesday, yeah. All right, Bill, I know you've got a report. I know Bill, Leslie, and Bob all have reports. Jail has nothing? No, Bill. Yes. The way, you said you were so slow, I figured I'd call on you first. Take you a minute to get up here. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Guys, I have one thing, they just finished coding the section D at the jail, sheriff, building down there. And, one thing had to rise, we had right after the dry spell, when we first had some first rains that were pretty strong, we had a lot of leaks in the sheriff's office. So, I had the roof come up, look, and the things on an existing roof start to come loose, because you have to remember that we're in our, you know, this is our second year, third year going into the roof repair. So we've had areas more protected. So I asked him, you know, number one, I asked him about the pricing of the roofing, and he said in the past for section D it had doubled. It went from $200 for 5 gallons to $400 for 5 gallons. And so I said, you know, if we go ahead and finish this project out, can we get some more of that roofing that the price before goes up or becomes unavailable? He said, I'm more worried about it becoming unavailable. But anyway, he went ahead and secured enough to do the last section, and he said, if we don't want it, he'll just turn around and sell it out, because it's very popular and it's kind of hard to get. So he secured the coating for the last section. So what I want to do, and I've already talked to Nicole, we can get some money moved around, and it's just a matter of finishing it this year instead of next year. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and get that project completely done. And section E is $18,960. So when we get that done, the whole building down there is going to be coated. So that's what I'm asking for, if we go ahead and get that done, so we don't have to worry about pricing or availability in 23 when we go to do the roofing, you know, the final section. And since we're having some problems, I think it could go ahead and get that whole building city wall. So I just need to see if the board would approve me to go ahead and get that done.
If y'all recall, we had discussed doing that roof in different sections, but it sounds like we might ought to jump on ahead.
So this will finish the entire jail?
All the way from north, all the way.
Now, the sections,
East and west.
the sections they've already done, there isn't any problems out leaks or anything there, is there?
We have anything, and we had some issues right after the first part of the jail, but it was in the flashing, which really wasn't covered in that. But, you know, they got it all fixed, and you have to remember, we've got a section up there on that, next to the railroad, it's a rubber roofing, and which really was supposed to be a real type of roof, and we've had splits come in and everything. issues up there because we can't do anything with that. We can't put any coatings on that or anything, we're just got rock on it, and it would have to be completely redone in a different way if we're gonna do something like that. But right now, we're holding our own, as far as I know, up there. The only leak we've had recently when the sheriff's office leaking is some of these last big heavy rains that poured in the back corner back.
I'll move to finish up the building.
Say $18,960, and it's a contract with
Water in the building.
Waterman, okay. All right.
Second.
It's got a motion by Marty, a second by Scott. Any other question, discussion?
I have one thing, because this is included in the budget amendment, and we have to have second reading, so that won't be ready for issue of PO until September the 6th. Can it wait that long, or do I need to add another budget transfer to go ahead and get that money in there to get it done sooner?
Well, the only problem I would have is since he went ahead and got the material, I wouldn't want that to get away.
Okay, so if we could add that 18,960 to the budget transfer as well, and then that way that'll go ahead and put that money in the line item for him to get a purchase order today. And then we'll change the account number to make sure that that amendment goes back into the transfer reserve that I'm gonna transfer it from. Does that all make sense?
I'll include whatever she just
Somewhat.
said in my motion.
It's all good.
I'll second that, whatever.
All right, so as part of the motion will be to, enter into the contract, authorize the judge to sign it, and to make the necessary budget transfers to accommodate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even really a contract, it's just because this never was a contract, it was just a proposal, and we've been working off it for 3 years, so.
Okay. All right, so Marty's made the motion, Scott seconded. Pam, is that motion about as clear as mud?
I'll have to work on it, but yes. I mean, I have all the details. It's
Okay.
just
Okay.
making it coherent.
All right. If there's no other question or discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Bob, you want to talk about the safe room grant?
Getting into the nitty gritty to get everything together, I've reached out to Arnold's to get a document telling about all of the breakdown of what it would cost. When I put in for the grant, I put in for a $500,000 grant, and when it came back, this hardly ever happens, I don't even know how it happened, but it came back $600,000. So we're getting a little bit more than we actually asked for, which is good because we make the safe room a little bit bigger. Or maybe they were looking at the price of materials and trying to balance that out. But anyway, the document that I sent forward that you guys have probably seen is is just acknowledging the 13% that the county would be responsible for. And in this case, what is it, 78,000, something like that?
78,000, and it's not, this doesn't mean we're sending a check. We're just signing this letter and sending it means that we understand we've been awarded the grant.
Yeah.
And the $78,000 can be either cash or in-kind work, correct?
Yeah,
So I mean, like, if they need site prep or something like that, if Bobby's crew had time to go do some of that type of work,
Yeah, exactly.
that could be in-kind
And
work.
that's how most communities that do this, they try to do as much in kind as they can.
Yeah,
That makes that $600,000 get pretty cheap.
yeah.
You know, if this is something that's going, and it will benefit the whole community, the city may be able to do some in-kind donations on it too.
Yeah, if city crews, even though we're the ones that apply for the grant, if city crews come and help do the work, would that
Yeah,
count as
So we
in-kind?
could,
yeah, because it's.
we have our
a
joint
part.
meeting.
Yeah,
We need to ask about that.
yeah.
The FEMA doesn't care if it comes from the city or county, they just want to make sure that our community takes care of our 13%.
Yeah. So what we need today is a motion and a second to authorize the county judge to sign this letter saying that the county will contribute to 13% on the safe room. And for those that may not know, Bob, we're talking about the safe room being like a storm-type shelter that will be located at the community park, correct?
Yes.
And do we have an idea, like, in the event of a bad weather situation, how many people would be able to gather in this building? Like, Do we have a footprint, do we have
That's one
a,
of the things I'm waiting from Arnold. They're supposed to take the amount and figure out how many, so much per square feet and how the design of the building. I've asked them to do it just like the one that they're doing in Butler County, where after you go above, I think it's 99 people, then you have to have space for handicap, and then you've got to have restrooms and that kind of stuff. So I've asked them to design it so the restrooms can be accessed from inside or outside, so it'll give us another set of restrooms.
here's a question. I know it's primarily, especially in the spring and so forth, with ball leagues and everything going on, if a thunderstorm or severe storm crops up and people are out there, you can't always get to your car to get somewhere quick enough, you could get in there. What about, will it be available, let's say it's not ball season and, because I mean, we've had some January, February tornado, just last year, December tornadoes. A tornado warning goes out, would it be something that just the general public, if someone was like, hey, I don't feel good to stay in my house, there's tornado warning, can I get out to the safe room in the park?
Yeah, we have to have a plan, we have to have an approved plan from FEMA, and that's part of what I'm gonna put in it, is this, anytime that we have projected severe weather, I come and activate my office and monitor it, everything, and if that happens, we'll unlock the safe room and allow people to get in it at that. And it can also be used as a multi-purpose room, so it can be another meeting room. The team meetings and community meetings and stuff can be used, so it'll be big enough that it'll be a good alternative to having.
You were saying 99 people?
It'll be more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be, I'm gonna say close to 350.
350.
You're just saying at 99, when you get above 99, it has to be
Above 99,
different
you have to have
different,
restrooms.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's pretty good news.
Very good news.
Did we get a motion and a second on that letter?
Not yet.
Motion.
Got a motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carried. Chief? Bob, thank you for the work on that grant. That's pretty big.
Regarding the CBD fire, so you guys mentioned the money that came back in. We filed a claim through CAECO to recoup some funds for some losses that we had, generally related to our turnout gear, where it is just completely destroyed because of the tar, the pitch, the stuff that got on them. They just weren't serviceable. We tried to clean them best we could. We actually paid somebody else to clean them. During part of that process, our tags that list, material type, dates, and all that stuff is, but some of them washed away. So again, where we're at is basically our gear was NFPA non-compliant at that point, certain sets of it. We filed a claim on it. And then we also had some damage, just cosmetic stuff to our truck, where we paid someone to help clean them, buff them, all that kind of thing to help restore those. So during that process, you guys may not be aware, we called mutual aid for the assistance at the fire with Woodburn and Auburn. They too sustained some damages specifically to their turnout gear. Woodburn Fire Department filed a claim, roughly $27,000 to $28,000 with their insurance company, who is not CAECO. Then Auburn Fire, which is actually two separate departments, so I'm kind of still trying to decipher on actually which one is the more affected, or which gear. They also had to file a claim with theirs. We couldn't file it under our umbrella with CAECO. They had to file their own claim, and I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out exactly which insurance company it is and which, if it was the city or the rural that actually did it. But what I am asking is, those folks were both out for a $1,000 deductible. And again, with Woodburn, it's, theirs claim was a lot larger. They're probably able to absorb that cost a little better than Auburn. Auburn's cost was about $4,600, something of that nature, and they have a $1,000 deductible on that. So what I'm asking the court is just in a sign of a good gesture. I'm asking that we cover their deductibles for each of those departments, just so that they can be made whole because they came here to help us and, you know, left with some damaged equipment, so.
So, yeah, the chief had called and asked me about this, once all this come up, and this was my take on it, and this is what I told the fire chief. You know, I think it's something we should do. I think if we were called in, our guys were called in to help another department somewhere else and damage some equipment, I don't know that we would necessarily expect that local government to cover our deductible costs, but it would be a doggone nice gesture to say,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
we appreciate y'all helping, and we don't want y'all to be out any loss more than just, you know, your manpower that you had down here.
Sure. Yeah, and on that note, I mean, we run a lot of mutual aid with these folks, back and forth. We don't worry about the cost of the water or the manpower. You know, all those are just, that's just part of the deal. We come to them, they come to us, you know, all those type things. But this kind of goes beyond, you know, when you come back with a $27,000 worth of turnout gear that, you know, really needs to be in the trash. You know, again, I mean, they had to file a claim on it, and it's nothing that we could have done for them.
The Keiko covered all
Well, Keiko's covering us.
of, that's all.
Yes. And I talked to them about that, about, hey, is there any way we can cover, you know, these other departments? And they're like, no, they have to do their own. A little caveat I'm still working, trying to figure out, was there is a possibility that if, I know Woodburn's out of the equation, they use VFIS insurance. If Auburn uses Keiko, then there is a chance that they might.
There's only one deductible. If Auburn is with Keiko as well, that's what the adjuster told me.
I spoke to him again to verify. What they said, what he told me again was, there was one deductible between our equipment and our apparatus where we did the vehicle, because they had two different adjusters come and look at them.
Two different adjusters, but only one.
Well, Wayne told me, because I specifically asked him that question, and he said no. He said that's a misunderstanding. He said so. That was what I was going off of when I talked to him. Because I think Nelson had talked to him too, and he, you know, that was the impression that he got was that they're, you know, only the one deductible. But anyway, I don't even know that Auburn Rural uses Keiko, and I'm thinking the more that it goes on, they do not. Because I know Auburn City is out, they use KLC, and I'm still trying to get a straight answer out of the Auburn Rural. But the fact that they operate, I believe, under a board and not under directly the court, I don't think Keiko insures those. So regardless, I think they're going to have a private insurance.
So it's Auburn Rural Fire Department and the Woodburn Fire Department.
That's the best I can get. And I know it sounds a little odd. They have a new chief for the city, and like brand new, and he's trying to navigate all this and get straight answers as well. And I tried to talk to him again yesterday, and I'm still not any clearer on it, but I'm believing it is going to be the Auburn Rural that whose actual turnout gear it is. They operate much like the city and the county did years ago. So they're all in one building. They share all the same equipment. They have two different chiefs, but you have no idea who's what. I mean, it's all blended into you know, much like it was here.
I would have thought rural Auburn would have just been Logan County. It would have been outside the city limits of Auburn, would have just been Logan County, but I don't know.
I think it's
So I guess the bottom line would be this too, Chief. If they make these claims and they need to have a deductible paid, they would be able to provide us with some kind of documentation on their deductible. Because I mean, we would obviously, if we make checks,
Sure.
I mean, we're going to have some kind of paperwork in our files for auditing purposes that, okay, where did this $1,000 check go? Okay, here's the documentation that shows that.
I'm sure if nothing else, I'm sure we can get a letter from
The insurance
the chief
provider.
or the insurance or something. I mean, because when they write a check, they'll have to show that it was for the deductible or whatever or something. So I'm sure we can get all that. I mean, I'm confident. But yes, what I'm asking is for Woodburn Fire and for us to cover Auburn Fire. And I don't necessarily think it's anything we got to have right away, because again, I don't have 100% of the details that I need. But
Is that something we need to wait on until those details come in, or?
I think he wants a head nod from fiscal court.
Yeah, I mean, just,
I think he wants authorization in principle today.
Okay.
I mean,
If you could give me that, if you could give me the assurance that yes, we're gonna cover it, then I will call, when I get back to the office and say, hey, send me what you got, and then I can get you
well,
that.
I feel like we should.
That's the right thing to do.
It is.
I think everybody says it's the right thing to do.
All right,
All right.
all right.
So once they get all their ducks in a row and we know, then we'll actually
I
make a
will get
formal
you-
motion and,
I'll work on it today. Thank you, gentlemen.
all right. Bobby, anything in the road department? Nothing from the jail? All we need now is a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion
Second.
by Marty, second by Nate, all in favor, aye. Aye. You're no